I'm going to show you how to paint this Bob Ross style painting using acrylic paint. So starting with the sky, I'm going to load my brush up with white paint and blue paint. And I'm using about 70% white and 30% blue. And just let the paint mix as you make these long strokes. And it'll blend together. So if you need to, just add a little bit of water to your brush and it'll help the paint spread more evenly. But we're going to add clouds after this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. At the bottom of the sky, I'm just adding white so I can make that look lighter. And then I'm just going to blend upwards until it's all blended. Okay, now we're just going to let this dry. Okay, now that the sky is dry, we're going to add the clouds. So I'm going to use this really old brush. It's stiff and scratchy, and it's perfect for clouds. I'm taking some white paint and I'm just going to put it beside the canvas with this brush, and I'm going to wipe as much of it off as I can because I only want a tiny bit of paint on the brush. So after you have a tiny bit of paint on your brush, you just dust the cloud on. You can make a swirl motion, or you can go back and forth, or you can alternate between these two motions, but you want to keep going until your paintbrush is almost empty of paint. And put the clouds anywhere you want. If there's a spot that didn't blend or that you don't like from when you were putting the blue in the sky, then you can just put a cloud over it. Now, clouds lower in the sky are farther away, so they're smaller. And the higher they are on the canvas, the bigger they need to be because they're closer. After you get all the clouds where you want them, mix a shadow color. So I'm just going to mix up a light blue. Almost the same color as the sky. And I'm going to add shadows to the bottoms of the clouds. So the clouds higher in the sky would be more shadowed, and lower in the sky almost have no shadow. Next comes mountains. I'm going to use blue, green, and a little bit of white and mix this color. You don't have to mix it completely. And draw the outline for the mountains. Here's the horizon line. And using the same color, just fill in the mountains completely. Blue, green, a little bit of white. And you can mix it directly on the canvas. That's fine. I like to mix the colors directly on the painting because you accidentally get shadows and some shape without trying. I'm adding a tiny bit of white at the bottom and blending it to create a fog at the bottom of the mountains. Now to put the snow on the mountains, I'm going to divide each peak into right and left. So the right side will be the light side where the sun's shining, and the left side will be the shadow side. So just using white, I am tracing out where the sun is going to shine on each mountain. I'm going to bring this mountain in front of the one next to it just by bringing the slope all the way down. So for the snow, I'm going to get the fan brush, and with only white, I'm going to go right in the part I outlined and barely touching the paintbrush, just slide it down the slope. And you want to be careful that you leave the blue poking through. You want some of the blue poking through. So don't go over it more than one time. Just one swipe and move on. Just slide down each little slope one time. For the shadow side, I'm going to use this dark color that I already have mixed to the left and add some white with it. So I want almost a light blue, kind of like the shadow in the clouds. And just swipe it in the opposite direction and fill in every spot in the mountain that doesn't have any snow. Too much paint. I'm just going to add a little bit of mist again at the bottom of the mountains. Next, moving on to trees, I'm going to use black and dark green. And I didn't even wash my brush out. It doesn't matter. So black and dark green, I'm just going to draw a horizon line right across the bottom. And just tap on little trees. So there's going to be water below the trees. So I'm going to put a tree right above the horizon line. But if you put it also below the horizon, it'll end up being a reflection in the water. So you kind of want to put it above and below like a mirror. And work your way all the way across. And be careful that to make sure that your trees are straight up and down and they're not leaning over, because it'll look like the wind's blowing them over if you do. I'm going to lighten up this green a little bit with some lighter green And I'm going to tap it right on the horizon line to divide the reflection from the trees, and so there's grass. I'm going to go a little bit lighter with this green and highlight the grass so it stands out just a little tiny bit more. Next is water, and using the same colors that are in the sky, just white and blue. And I'm going to make straight lines across the whole bottom of the rest of the canvas. When you do water, you don't have to make as long of a motion as you do when you're putting the color in the sky. Then you start to see ripples in the water. Also, keep these lines flat for calm water. And then if you're doing like a river or an ocean, then you do smiley faces or frowny faces. But for a lake, you want to keep it straight and flat. Okay, for where the trees are in the reflection, I'm not adding any paint to the brush. I just added water. So that'll thin the paint and make it more transparent, so you don't cover the trees completely. Now you have your reflection. Okay, next we're going to put a big tree on the right side, and I'm using black and green. You're just going to draw a line all the way down for the tree trunk. My tree trunk looks really bad, but it doesn't matter because you're going to put branches right on top of it. So then grab your fan brush and load it up with black and green, and then you just make little frowny faces right over the center of your tree trunk. And some parts can stick out further and be thicker. And it does get wider as it goes down towards the bottom of the tree, but not much wider. Now I'm going to mix up a lighter green. I've got some dark green, and I'm going to add some light green to it. Just grabbing both of those colors, the dark and the light green. I'm going to use that and really lightly just tap on some highlights on this tree, on the branches. Onto bushes. I'm going to go back to the dark green and black. So I'm using this brush. It's called a chip brush, and you can get these at Home Depot. And they're great for making bushes. And just tap the bushes all along the bottom of the canvas. Black and dark green. Okay, now adding yellow with your light green. Don't mix the colors completely. Just get both of the colors on the brush and really lightly tap and highlight your bushes. You want to leave more of the shadow at the bottom, and with the highlight you come up higher above the darkest part. This is the last step, and then you have your Bob Ross style landscape. So easy, anybody can do it. Thanks for watching. These are the paints I'm going to be using, and this is all acrylic. And this is my palette. I use it every day, but that's why it's so messy. I just put this lid on it and keep it in the fridge, and then it keeps the paint wet every day. But I'm going to be using dark green, light green, and it doesn't matter what shade. Any shade of these, of dark and light green is fine. Black, white, blue, and yellow. And that's all you need for this painting.